Okay, recording this video on Sunday, the 12th of December 2021. It's just gone 6:25 a.m. Chicago time. It is 1:25 p.m. here in France. Do hope you're doing well. Hope you had a good week's trading. So, I'm going to talk about the Bitcoin and Ethereum charts because we've had some activity in the last couple of hours. Just want to update you on those. Also talk about gold and silver and also a recap of the British pound chart. Got stopped out of my trade on British pound and just want to show you what's going on there. We've got quite a lot of professional bars kind of popping up on the Forex charts. So just want to kind of rip through those. But before doing that, just to give you a little bit of kind of travel and trading local color. Quite a few people on the channel say they like hearing our little kind of traveling stories. Mrs. Emini-Watch and I have been saying, during COVID, people have been vicariously enjoying travel through some of the updates that I give. So I thought I'd just give you an update on what's happening here in France. So as you might know, I was pretty keen to keep traveling and trading despite COVID. This last couple of years, last year we ended up quarantining 4 times as we traveled around the world, kind of keeping up our normal schedule, Hawaii, Europe, usually Australia, but that was out of the question last year, and back to Hawaii and so on. So we ended up quarantining 4 times in Canada, France, the UK, and then back in Hawaii, each for between 10 and 14 days, which, well, had to be done. But this year, in order to travel around, we had to get jabbed. It was too difficult getting into Europe without a jab, so we went ahead and did that. I'd say it was a bit of a failure because 3 weeks after the jab, I got COVID. Pretty bad, but having recovered from that, took about 4 days. Luckily, I had ivermectin with me, and I'm sure it actually would have been 3 days if I'd taken it on the first day. But I couldn't believe I'd got COVID, having been jabbed 3 weeks prior. So took about 24 hours to realize, well, that didn't work. Anyway, so now we've been in France for 4+ months. We're going to be leaving at the end of this month. But all of a sudden, our vaccine passports have been turned off. So you get a what's called the pass sanitaire here in France. It's an app on your phone with a QR code showing when you've been vaccinated. Any bar, restaurant, theater, cinema you kind of go into, you have to show your pass. They've got a little app on their phone. They kind of swipe you in and everything's fine. But they're now starting to switch this off for people after 4 months and 3 weeks. So they're saying when you speak to them 5 months after the jab, you have to have a booster. Well, this is actually 4 months and not even 3 weeks, and our pass sanitaires are being turned off because we haven't had a booster. And this is going to cause trouble. Not for us. We're out of here. We'll kind of make do. We're fine. But the whole of Europe's going to be going through this in the next few months. And I think the authorities have underestimated people here. We have minimum 20% of people in Europe, and in some countries, well, Germany it's 23%. In the US it's about 25% when you look at the stats of people who are unvaccinated and saying they are not going to get vaccinated. So despite all the restrictions that have been put on people in Europe, particularly Italy, Austria, Germany, and so on, there are 20 to 25% of people are refusing to get vaccinated at all. And then you have everybody who's been vaccinated and who have had adverse effects. We know quite a few people that said, Jesus, I had a week of horrible side effects, flu-like type symptoms, not, kind of myocarditis or anything more serious than that. But, those people are going to be pretty reluctant to have another jab. And then if this thing's going to be switched off every 4 months and 3 weeks, you're not going to persuade people to have a jab every 4 months just to continue their life. And so it's quite a shock when, this little pass sanitaire QR code on your phone is switched off and you get a notice saying that it's not going to be switched back on until you get kind of reboosted. I think that's going to be a problem. So I don't think on mainstream media any of the demonstrations are being kind of picked up. Where we are in southwest France, in Biarritz, you don't see anything like that. I think you have to go into kind of the bigger cities to be able to see kind of the demonstrations. We're going to be traveling a little bit over the next 2 weeks, so we'll see if we see anything, but it's not made through major cities and towns. So, if you go to the independent media type sites, you can actually see kind of major demonstrations happening in all major cities in Europe, particularly on the weekends. So let's see how this kind of plays out. I personally think they've overplayed their hand, and I think this is the thing that's going to cause a rift between the vaxxed and the unvaxxed. So that's it. That's kind of the update. But I suppose the lesson is like once you get suckered into the jab, it's just going to be a continuous process, and it's not even an annual thing here. It's a 4 months and 3 weeks kind of thing here. So just I suppose a heads up for people who are interested. So let's talk about charts and Bitcoin first. These are the two time frames I'm looking at on kind of swing trading charts, the 4,500 tip bar chart and the 13,500 tip bar chart. BTC USD, which in TradeStation is kind of the Forex symbol, I think that gives the best signals in terms of what is going on. You'll notice on my charts I've got kind of my signals now showing not as signals but just as arrows on the charts. We're going to be releasing this in the next couple of weeks, so the code's just been finished up on that. So people who are interested in these kind of strength and weakness type signals, additional signals on the charts, just hold out. We'll get that to you soon enough. 13,500 tip bar chart. This was the sell-off that we had the other day. And I like this chart because we had blue professional bars selling the move down. They were kind of getting short at this move here. Bang. They sold it down, exhaustion volume getting the move going, and the move was ended with exhaustion selling and more blue professional bars kind of picking it up in this zone, this 44 to 48 kind of zone here. So for me, that's done enough damage on the downside, and we've got blue professional bars kind of picking it up at the lows. That's kind of good. So cyclically, we've got an oversold situation that's come up. We've got our bullish divergence kind of come in here, but our trailing stop is a little bit of a ways away. I'd like to see another blue professional bar kind of come in on this 13,500 tip bar chart to show that this move is kind of done on the downside and we're going to accelerate up. It could be that we get a gap and go type situation where the professionals come in at 50,000 or whatever it is and just buy it all and say that's it, we're done on the downside, we're moving this thing up. So it kind of accelerates that move away. But in my mind, this is a little bit, this needs to be a move a little bit kind of closer to the price activity, the trailing stop on Pro-Am, before I'm kind of confident that this is all done. When we go down a time frame, 4,500 tip bar chart, it's a little bit messy here, but you can see all the blue professional bars that have come in lately at the highs here, then forcing it down, picking it up at the lows, and then we had a little bit, this is a gap and go kind of signal here. So we had exhaustion, sell, bullish divergence. We get through the pro line and we kind of head on up. Everything kind of turns red there. So on the lower time frame, for me, that's kind of looking like the acceleration of this move, but I'd like to see another blue professional bars. Maybe this one when it closes a blue professional bars that shows that all the activity that's taking place is the pros kind of anxiously buying that because the bottom is in. Now, Ethereum chart, same time frames because we've got roughly the same amount of volume kind of going through. So on Ethereum, the 4,500 tip bar chart and the 13,500 tip bar chart. Now on this chart, a few days ago, I said we had a similar pattern where the professionals kind of sold it down, exhaustion sell, but we did not have blue professional bars down here at the lows, unlike the Bitcoin chart. I was saying I'm waiting until I see blue professional down bar kind of coming in, testing those lows, and so I was very wary of this move all the way back up to 4,500 here. So I'm not buying that because that for me is not done on the downside until we see those blue professional down bars. Well, the last 24 hours or so, 48 hours, we have had those blue professional bars kind of coming at 4,000. So they were pretty keen on that round number to kind of come in, and the Pro-Am stops kind of come back down. And also on this time frame, we have cyclically oversold with a background red kind of come in here. So that for me is starting to look good. We've had our exhaustion sell, bullish divergence, flush, flush, flush pattern. So when this, when we get through 42, maybe we get another blue professional bar kind of grabbing and going, if you like, kind of around here that it says 4,100. That's the level we're in, all in. The downside's kind of been tested and we're getting this move going. So we'll wait and see. We don't have a signal yet on this chart, but all we need is one blue professional bar to kind of come in and break through the highs of that, and we'll kind of get this thing going. On the 4,500 tip bar chart, yep, it's been nicely kind of almost gone off. So we've got exhaustion sell, blue professional bars at the lows. We test with a bullish divergence, cyclically oversold with all the red patterns going on there. We've had blue professional bars kind of come in here, anxiously grab it. So 4,100 getting through there will give us a triple signal showing that we're on our way on this particular chart. So just have to wait for that, but should be happening probably sometime in the next 24 hours, I would imagine. Now on the flip side, we've got other patterns kind of going on gold and silver. I'll show you the silver chart first because this one seems to be ramping up, kind of getting ready to go. Again, time frames that I'm using for swing trading and day trading. You can go down to a 300 tip bar chart, 900, 2700, all a factor of 3 different between them. And you can see that on the 900 tip bar chart here on silver, we're oversold at this point. We've got all of these bars kind of coming in the background printing red saying oversold, oversold. It's like we need blue professional bars to kind of come in. These ones came in on the retrace, and that was just an opportunity to run a bunch of stops, get the move going. And then when we see blue professional bars coming in on the downswing like this, that's them picking it up at the lows, and they leg in at the lows. They come back in here. 22 bucks is really important. We finally get our exhaustion sell, bullish divergence. We got some triple patterns kind of go off, and we're breaking into an uptrend here. So the 900 tip bar chart is looking good for a change in trend. And on the 2700 tip bar chart here, you can see this massive move. So it topped out, exhaustion buy, bearish divergence. We'd had our overbought a while earlier, and we kind of went into this big downtrend. And then there's a blue professional bar kind of come in here, and we're just waiting to kind of get the move going. Not exhaustion sell, this was exhaustion sell getting the move going. So potentially on silver, I suppose on the 2700 tip bar chart, we have to do a little bit more damage on the downside, but it's starting to find a bottom there. Now, gold, I'm actually short gold at the moment because I don't think the same pattern's kind of showing up. I don't think we've got a bottom being made in gold yet. So similar pattern to silver where we kind of topped out. This is the highest time frame tip bar chart I'm looking at, 67.50. Blue professional up bars. We didn't have exhaustion buy there, but it was overbought, and we broke through the trailing stop. We got ourselves into an oversold position here. But these blue professional bars, we don't have exhaustion sell. Yes, we're oversold. Blue professional bars didn't come in at the lows here or the lows here. They've kind of come in on this retrace, and that's more like a stair-step trade. Kind of come in here as we stair-step, the better pro-am signal on the way down. So I'm actually short gold at the moment. And then when you kind of back down the time frames, you can see the blue professional bars weren't coming in at the lows. They were coming in on the retrace here, on the retrace here. So we actually had a signal on this time frame. So I don't think we're going to hold on gold. I think we're going to test back down. We might come with another test back down, although a weak test on silver. So there's where I'm at. We're kind of about to kind of flip around on the cryptos and on the precious metals. I'm not convinced that the bottom is in on those charts. So kind of that's what I'm seeing, at least on my charts. Now, British pound. I told you about the British pound the other day that I was long British pound. Well, got stopped out of my trade. I thought this was enough damage to be done on the downside. Blue professional down bars here, exhaustion sell, and so on. I had my stop sitting at 132, got taken out on my stop, so I'm out of that situation. But I still think we're trying to make a bottom here on the British pound. So with that activity, exhaustion, selling, flush patterns going on, blue professional bars at the down, but this has just kind of been a move that's kind of tripped me out of my position for the time being. On the higher time frame tip bar chart, let's have a look at that quickly. Yeah. So again, no exhaustion sell down here, but there's those blue professional bars. So we're still trying to formulate this bottom down here on British pound. So have to wait for another entry there. But what I am seeing on the daily charts is we're trailing down a whole bunch of pro-am stops because of these blue professional bars. So here's the euro. We come back down. His blue professional bars kind of come in with exhaustion sell. We're oversold at this point here. So they're starting to get interested here. So that's the euro chart, Aussie dollar chart, same thing, although that looks like it's a stair-step trade kind of waiting. So when you see the professional bars kind of come in, that means professionals are active. We're waiting for the next kind of leg, whether it's a change in trend and we kind of blast to the upside, or it's another entry point for a continuation of the trend. So Aussie dollar looks like a stair-step trade on the way down. Here's the British pound with the activity that we've had over the last few days, and that's just kind of tripped me out for the time being. Canadian dollar, same thing, a whole bunch of blue professional bars kind of come in here. And we got Japanese yen as well, kind of down here as well. So we've got the next leg of the Forex trends are lining up. So I'm kind of interested in those. Now, crude and copper. So crude, I like this for a continuation of the uptrend. And on the 9900 tip bar chart, again, swing trading longer term tip bar chart, we've made a bottom down here with blue professional bars kind of come in. We've tested down here. We're oversold at that point. We've broken into an uptrend, and we've got a little stair-step trade kind of setting up here on the crude chart. So if you look at crude on the daily chart, you can see the damage that's been done after we topped out here. Exhaustion buy, bearish divergence come down. Well, at 65, it could be the professionals have just picked this up. Quite similar to the E-mini chart on the daily time frame. They've kind of picked up that weakness, and we're getting ready to test back up into those highs potentially, or at least back to the trailing stop, this 80 kind of region here. So crude's looking like we're holding there, and the same happening on copper potentially. So here, overbought, we kind of crash. We've got oversold at this point here, and we're kind of holding these blue professional bars that I like for this move. So we're trying to hold at that point. And then when we go to just back it down one time frame here, you can see the signals. So blue professional bars at the lows here. We come back in. Blue professional bars at the end of Friday. Stair-step trade potentially kind of lining up there. So copper on the daily chart, yep, we ran pretty hard into $5, but we're not kind of reversing and turning into a downtrend kind of quite yet. So if this level kind of holds, we'll go back and up and test into that $5 kind of region. So there we go. That's what I'm seeing on my charts. We got the cryptos kind of trying to find that bottom and trying to break into an uptrend. We got gold and silver. I think we're going to continue to test into the lows. And we've got things kind of lining up on a whole bunch of Forex charts. So let's look for that next leg of the Forex trades.